Hey K-pop lovers! You're tuned in to K-pop Fair, where every story hits your heart like your favorite beat. What if I told you that one quiet dinner changed everything we thought we knew about Taehyung and Jungkook? That night, in a restaurant full of whispers, glances, and the weight of recognition, V and Jungkook weren't just two idols sharing a meal. They were two souls daring to exist as themselves, even if only for a fleeting moment. The restaurant staff later confirmed what fans had long speculated. Yes, it was them. They promised that next time, they'd protect their privacy, offering them a quieter corner where they could just be. But that wasn't just about good service. It was a confirmation, a silent acknowledgement, a declaration that love had walked through those doors. Imagine sitting across from someone who makes you laugh without trying, someone you don't need cameras or staff to prove yourself to. That's exactly what happened that night. Just food, laughter, and the kind of connection that no lens can capture. But the story didn't stop there. The chef himself shared a post, and the restaurant's Instagram echoed it. What more proof did anyone need? For years, some argued it wasn't them, that it was staged, that it was imagined. Yet the truth had been there all along, and now it was undeniable. And here's the beauty. Taehyung and Jungkook didn't leave behind a photo shoot or a press release. They left behind silence, smiles, and the kind of gestures couples share when no one's supposed to be watching. Think about it. When Jungkook is seen with the woman he loves, there are cameras everywhere, staff standing by, a production in motion. But with Taehyung, there's none of that. No lights, no script, just two people ordering food and sharing a world of their own. That difference, it's not small. It's everything. It separates the staged from the sincere, the fan service from the authentic. And then came the moment that shook everyone. Taehyung in his livestream recommended a song. Not just any song, but Drew's Double Take. To most, it was just music. But to those who know, it was a love letter. Double Take wasn't just written by a rising artist. It was born from Drew's real experiences as a queer man, navigating love, longing, and acceptance. It became an anthem for the LGBTQ+ community, embraced by millions who used it to tell their own stories. And Taehyung chose that song. He could have picked anything, but he chose that. Drew himself noticed. He posted a heart. A simple red heart, but one that spoke volumes. Because when someone like Taehyung shines a light on a song like that, it isn't random. It's deliberate. It's personal. It's powerful. And suddenly, the dots connected. A dinner in silence. A song with meaning. Gestures that repeat themselves over and over, like a secret language only they understand. Have you noticed how their bodies respond to each other? How if Taehyung leans in, Jungkook follows? How if one looks, the other always looks back? That isn't choreography. That's trust. That's instinct. That's love. And what's most fascinating is that these gestures don't disappear when cameras arrive. They don't stop when others are watching. They persist, natural, unstoppable. Because they aren't meant for us, they're meant for each other. This is why fans say Taekook is different. It's not about fan service. It's not about playing a role. It's about living a truth, even in the smallest moments. Remember that night at the restaurant? They could have avoided it. They could have stayed home. But they didn't. They went out together, knowing the risk of being seen, because being together mattered more. And when people recognized them, tried to approach them, tried to interrupt, they still chose to stay as long as they could. Even when they left early, the message was clear. We came together, and that's what matters. The restaurant promised more privacy next time. But maybe, just maybe, Taehyung and Jungkook don't care about hiding anymore. Maybe they've realized that authenticity speaks louder than any stage performance. Every fan can see it now. The way they look, the way they move, the way they smile when the other one's near. It's not just chemistry. It's history. It's memory. It's everything. And then there's the contrast. The so-called romantic moments, staged with Jungkook's partner. Cameras flashing, staff coordinating, every detail rehearsed. Compare that with Taehyung and Jungkook's quiet dinner. Which one feels more real? Which one lingers in your heart? That's why Taekook resonates. Because they don't need a stage. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't even need to speak. Their gestures say it all. Their silences say even more. And the world, whether it admits it or not, is listening. So when Taehyung recommends a queer anthem, when Jungkook leans a little closer, when a restaurant confirms they'll keep a private table ready, each piece adds to a story too big to ignore. No statement needed. No announcement required. The truth speaks for itself. And maybe, just maybe, this is the story we've been waiting for all along. Because love, real love, doesn't shout. It whispers. And sometimes, those whispers are loud enough to change everything. And that's what makes this story so unforgettable. Taehyung and Jungkook aren't trying to convince anyone. They're not performing. They're just living. Living in a way that naturally reveals the truth to those willing to see it. And sometimes, the quietest actions are the ones that echo the loudest. Think about how rare that is in their world. For idols, almost everything is scripted, rehearsed, and presented as a product. But what happens when something isn't a product at all? What happens when two people decide that their connection matters more than the cameras pointed at them? That's when authenticity breaks through the noise, leaving fans breathless. And maybe that's why every little gesture feels so significant. A shared look across a crowded room. A song recommended in passing. A dinner that ends too soon because the world intrudes. These aren't random details. They're chapters in a story still being written. What's powerful is how fans can sense it. Not because they're told, not because it's packaged, but because it's felt. It's in the way Taehyung's voice softens when Jungkook's name comes up. It's in the way Jungkook's body relaxes when Taehyung is near. These aren't fan theories. They're truths hiding in plain sight. And maybe, in the end, that's what makes Taekook different. Their love doesn't need a grand reveal. It doesn't need a spotlight. It just exists, stronger, quieter, and more real than anyone expected. And for those watching closely, that's more than enough. That's it from Kpop Fair, your ultimate K-pop destination. Remember, stay sparkling and always follow your heart. See you in the next video.
Invincible.